Hello everybody, welcome to Dakman Productions and welcome to Conrail. Today I'm going to put out a pretty fun video. I know everybody likes to have fun. And a little disclaimer here. This is not going to be a prototypical run like I normally do on Conrail. So what we got going on today is a train I put together that I like to call the Conroll Super Crane Train. Now, there's no such thing. Don't go running to Google. Oh, I gotta see what that is. That's totally made up. And but I wanted to do something fun for this video, so there will be a mix of scale and semi-scale. I know I said I don't usually run semi-scale over here, but for this train, I will be running a mix today. And so Conroll really did have MOW trains, but nothing like what I put together here today. And we'll talk more about that towards the end of the video. I want to remind everybody that my 10,000 subscriber live celebration will be coming soon. Judging by how close I'm getting to the 10,000 viewer mark. Or 10,000 subscriber mark, that is. And I will be hosting a live show and giving a couple things away. I'll make an official video about that later once I get closer to that point. But in the meantime, I'd like you guys to enjoy the Conrail Super Crane Train. Let's go.
This is the dispatcher. Do you copy?
I copy that. Over.
Okay, start her up. Stand by for track orders.
Yes, sir. Start up and stand by. Out. Dispatcher, ready to roll. Can I pull? Over.
Negative. Stand by. Over.
Acknowledged. Waiting on a clear signal. Out.
This is the dispatcher. You're clear to pull. Over.
That's great. We're good to go. Out.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed the Conrail Super Crane Train. Now you see why I call it the Conrail Super Crane Train, because there are actually 2 crane cars in this train. We'll talk about that here in a moment. Now, Conroll, of course, did have MOW trains for wrecks and stuff like that, but they did not have a train like this one. And a lot of railroads just used a mishmash of old equipment for their MOW service. So whatever they had laying around that was either up for retirement on their 50-year retirement, and they're still allowed to use it as long as it's got an R designation on it, meaning they would take the letter R and put it after the road number, meaning it was restricted speed, because MOW trains were restricted to a certain speed. I think it was like 15 miles an hour, and that's it, because they did use all old equipment for the to make up the MOW train. Now, I'm not an expert on MOW trains, but I can tell you who is, and that's Henning III over at Henning's Trains, also a team member of the Train Shop Weekly YouTube show. Harry has a real nice Pennsylvania MOW train. It's all yellow, which Pennsylvania really did have a yellow MOW train. Harry's done much research on MOW equipment, because he does, that really fascinates him, and he does like that sort of thing. So he's read quite a few books. He's made a couple of his own pieces for that train. And I believe I got that train on video at one of his open house run for fun events at the old train farm. Alright, so heading up is a Lionel Legacy Conroll SD35. Right behind that, trailing, is a Lionel Legacy Penn Central SD45. A cool fact about the SD45, it was the very first locomotive to use the 20-cylinder EMD locomotive engine, or prime mover. Now, sometimes railroads would take old 40-foot boxcars and put them in as MOW service for tools and stuff like that. And I know a lot of railroads would normally paint them all gray, or whatever MOW train was painted, like Pennsylvania would have been yellow. But here I left it as an old Jersey Central boxcar. This is the Lionel PS5, I believe, gondola. I added that to the roster. And inside there, I'll show you, I actually have wheels in there as a load. So maybe perhaps the wheels may have gotten damaged on a wreck. So we're taking those wheel sets with us. So here is a Conroll crane in black. I believe this was stationed in Conway, Pennsylvania. There's one that has been sitting at Strasburg for quite some time. I was able to get photos of it years ago when it was still wearing its black Conroll paint. The last time I visited Strasburg was a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and they had since primered it in gray. I'm not sure if it got painted again. The Conroll crane car in black is made by MTH Premier. Here we have a Conrail crane tender. This is an MTH Premier piece. They made these in 2 different road numbers, believe it or not. Next up is a Lionel Conrail 66-foot mill gondola, or 65-foot. And inside of this gondola, I'll show you, I do have trucks ready to roll in case there's any trucks that got damaged in we'll call it the Penn Central wreck. How's that? We're heading out to a Penn Central, ex-Penn Central Lines wreck. And so we'll go on to the next one here. Here is a MTH Conroll crane as well. Conroll also really did have a crane in blue. So they had a blue version and a black version. They were not stationed close enough together to put in one single train, so... But, you know, sort of a fantasy run, but a little on the fun side. On another note, Lionel did come out with a blue crane as well. It was TMCC controlled. They also had a boom car with sounds that went behind it as the crane tender. I did have that set. I do have a couple videos on it, which I can put in a link for those who are wishing to see how it operated. But in the end, it did have a couple issues. They were known issues, and I wasn't really happy with it, so I ended up selling it. I no longer own that. Next up, we have a pair of Lionel scale flat cars, Conroll flat cars, both loaded up with track, just in case the Penn Central track got all tore up, which it normally did. A lot of railroads took old passenger cars, painted them gray or yellow for the Pennsylvania Railroad, and converted them into worker sleeping quarters. Okay, this part of the train is semi-scale. Those of you may recognize these two cars. These are actually Lionel MPC era cars. One is a tool car and one is an actual bunk car. Hoping that one day that maybe somebody would make these in scale. Would love to have them in scale. So here's a Lionel MPC era spotlight car. Sort of like, you know, what if the railroads took a flat car and converted it into, you know, a spotlight car, complete with generator and all that fun stuff. Last up is a MTH Conroll work caboose. So now Conroll really did have a work caboose. They really were painted gray. And the only thing that MTH forgot to do, which I can do on my own, is they forgot to put the letter R on the end of the road number. And the letter R, once again, stood for restricted speed. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the Conrail Super Crane Train video, and we'll catch you guys trackside. Thanks again.